Then hugged the base of the mountains around through Bountiful along the old mountain road. Centerville is this area here that we're showing. And then north along the base of the hill up to where Farmington is. Last picture was the Farmington Cemetery. This is the old rock church in Farmington. It was erected in 1862. This is where the first primary was organized. This would be close to the trail. Okay. North Farmington, South Kaysville, towards Farmington. They traveled along the foothills of Farmington along to where the Utah State Experimental College Farm is. This intersection was by Cherry Hills Campground, and then turned west almost a little bit south along this road, which is Shepherd Lane. To where it crossed, this is Bear Creek here that we're showing. Then the old road travels along Shepherd Lane for a little ways. Point on, it leaves Shepherd Lane and does not travel along a existing road for a few miles. We'll pick it up as close as we can along West Kaysville. Marker put up by Scout Troop 581, marking Hyatt Creek, site of Hector Hyatt settlement in 1847. This would be pretty close to where the trail runs here too, along the bluff. West of Kaysville, this side here is a marshy ground, and out a little bit further the lake area. So they would have held to our east here, somewhere along this bluff where these homes and sheds intersect here, and going diagonally from Kaysville to Layton. And then we'll pick it up at West Gentile, where it intersects the bluff road. To the south, there's no existing road, but the old trail used to follow the bluff down. You can see some trees over there where the old Kershaw home used to face the Immigrant Trail. And then it would come and intersect here in Gentile. And the road would run north along the existing bluff road from Gentile on through Syracuse. West, you can see where the bluff road intersects with 3000 West. Now this bluff road, or the old Immigrant Trail, used to follow the bluff on over northwest, just west of the barn, and just beyond in that grove of trees is the old Steed home, where Patriarch T. Joseph Steed grew up as a young boy. That was facing and would have been on the Immigrant Road. Road just below the bluff, looking southeast. This existing road from 700 south along here past the West Point Cemetery to the West Point Road, 300 north. The Immigrant Trail used to continue on further north, following the brow of the hill, on around, winding, and then on through Clinton and on over to Hupper. Perry, just west of the old highway where the Immigrant Trail run along the foothills. We're looking down on what was known then as Porter Springs. Porter Rockwell come on up and established this springs as a stop for the gold rush men during 1849 and 1850. The property is now owned by the owner of Flying J, has been very successful and a nice yard and home. This is Porter Springs. Then in the background we can see the freeway running between Ogden and Brigham City. This is a close-up view of what was known as Porter Springs. I'm sure it's changed considerably, but this is the area just west of Perry, what was known as Porter Springs. The Immigrant Road ran almost through the center of Brigham City to within a few blocks north of the courthouse, and then turned northeast to past the Wright and Reese Springs along the foothills. One of the old homes on the trail, or the existing road from Brigham City to Deweyville. We're along the trail here now, on the base of the mountains. Harper Springs now, located just north of the Harper Ward Chapel. There's two of the old Harper homes here. We'll try to get the two homes and the old Harper Chapel in the picture. This is along the trail that they come. They're the old original Harper homes. A sidelight on Harper Springs, we're told here by one of the people living that they used Harper Springs as a baptismal font, or to do their baptismals for several years. Southeast corner of fort built by Anson Call and Associates in 1855 under the direction of President Brigham Young as protection against the Indians. The fort was the most northerly outpost in Utah. It was 120 feet square, with walls 8 foot high and 3 feet thick, built of rock, part of which is in this monument. The circular stones were taken from one of the first burr flour mills built in northern Utah in 1852, owned by Homer and Homer Hall. The three Call brothers were early pioneers and builders in northern Utah. Dewey Springs, as it appears today, this is one of the springs the immigrants used, and it's just south of Deweyville. The Bernard Springs, just south of Colliston, along the trail. We'll get a shot of the schoolhouse and the store tour, the old store too. The schoolhouse has been abandoned. Colliston schoolhouse, it's been abandoned. A few of the buildings right in Colliston. Which is where the Immigrant Trail crossed the Bear River. This is the old stagecoach station that was put in. It's now a restaurant. Getting a picture of the grounds. Bridge, but earlier when the immigrants come through, it's assumed that they crossed just the Bear River just about in this same location.
It works. We went down Friday. Quarter day, he was still slaving down there. And he worked a good hour and a half. When the math didn't.
Okay. Here from the chapel is where the old Bluff Road went. And this is looking off towards Hooper and West Point and areas like this. Also from the Bluff Road Chapel, we are now looking back towards Layton and Kaysville and Farmington towards the mountains. And then the road came along the mountains from the point of the mountain around into Salt Lake. We are now on the Clinton Road looking directly towards the north. The bluff has left us a half a mile back to the south, and the wagons continued over looking straight towards this. After going about a mile and a half north, they started veering towards the east, where they will cross the Weber River and then go on to Plain City. We think that this is where they came through. We're over here in northwest Hooper. Can't see the exact marks. Don's looking for them. Could have come right up through this area.
Back up to the road, come down on the other side of the canal.
We think this is Muskrat Springs, but we can't read the plaque from this point. If it be the case, then out in here is Muskrat Springs, where the trail would have brought some of them into this area for water. This is definitely Muskrat Springs. We can see it.
Yeah.
But can't read the writing. I'm talking into this. Here's the old bridge, and down in it is the marker, and probably about right in through there is where they used to ford someplace. There's the marker, and here's probably where they forded the bridge. This is Hampton, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this Hampton.
And then probably went up this dugout and went just south of Fielding and on up, and then went north and crossed the Malad River, and then circled back and went around the point of this mountain. And I don't think we're going to see it from right here. Here's the plaque telling about the crossing. Take time, you might be able to read it. This is the original barn and where they kept the livery of some of the early.
I'd like to get everyone congregated here, don't they?
We're down in the valley going across the Bear, and the crossing is supposed to be near this old bridge down on this side someplace. Here's Hampton's Ford welcoming us, as you can see. Here's the old bridge. Don't know exactly when this was constructed. The first bridge across the ford was in the 1850s, and someplace right in through here. It's where the early immigrants going to California and Oregon crossed the trail, or the Bear River. Here's our historical committee, Donnie's wife, and Dean, and my wife, and Darwell taking the picture. Someplace up here you can still see where the trail cut through the sagebrush where the wagons made a mark.
This is my house. Come on in here.
There's the Jackson Fork. Here's a panorama view of the old home. There's a buggy.
Got his good food, didn't he?
Come try it.
An old single plow. Here's an old freight wagon. Here's an old pot that you see where they used to brew up some stew. I don't know how old that building is back there. Probably isn't part of it. This building here is used as a restaurant now.
Nice food, yeah. Sturdy old wagon.
Along part way up this mountain is where the trail went. Today they're putting a freeway. It'll be over in this area. Here we see the trail going towards Pilot Springs. After it goes over here about 2/10 of a mile where you can see it going up over the ridge, it forks, goes to the right, and will go up around the mountain, and one goes to the left around. And then they meet together over on the other side. Here it looks towards the east. The sun is maybe a little hard to see, but you can see it going almost straight east towards Snowville, south of the Rose Ranch, about 16 miles away. After the trail had been used for quite a few years, the stagecoach come, and along this trail near Naff, you find where they kept the horses for the stagecoach. And here's some remains of that building. And to the right is where they stayed and probably even ate.
What is that one place over
Here you see this building where they'd come in and the stagecoach. This would be over 100 years ago that this took place.
Got her?
It's got the date up there.
Still showing. From Cedar Springs, the Immigrant Road wound through the juniper-covered foothills of Clear Creek, following fairly close to a road now in use. The old road can frequently be seen near the present road. Crosses the road up Clear Creek about 1 8/10 miles south of the road from Stravell to Nath, and goes on west by the old Nath schoolhouse.
This is where Clayton and I first started our marriage. We've grown a little since.
Here's the old well. It's been covered over.
The machine just
There's water down that shaft.
Is there?
Yeah.
And there's Bob coming out of it, and he says there's water down the shaft.
Bob, I brought a...
This is still at the stagecoach area. What do you think that is? Is that porcelain?
I don't know, I found it out by the toilet. What do you think?
Where's the toilet?
Right there is where the toilet was.
Oh,
Don't you think?
probably. North and west of Yost, the trail runs northwest, and then as it goes towards the valley there, it will sweep over and go up Immigration Canyon at this point, right here. Right up in through there. Let's come back close up to the trail again. It cuts right through here, goes down, and then as it hits the bottom, it circles through and comes into the corner there, and then up Immigration Canyon. And then looking back towards Yost, it goes through the grease woods here, right over through about where that truck is located. Once it gets on the other side of the Utah line and into Utah, then it swings and goes over into this direction and comes across down through about this point and followed this ridge of mountains as it came in from here, coming from the Naff area. This is the southern route. Here at another point about a mile on down, we pick it up again. Let me zoom in and I'll show you how the trail is. And that's a definite trail there through the grease woods. And it's headed straight for Immigration Canyon. And this is a canyon up through here where it joined with the trail that we've seen earlier, the California Trail. You look real close, and I think you could almost see some of the trail going.
Can you see the ruts?
Yeah, here are some ruts of the wagons as they came into the junction from the east.
Beautiful out here next spring with all that burned off that mountain.
That looks like, I wonder if that was this year or last year.
I bet you it was last year.
Boy, it got hot in those cedars up over in there when they were thick.
Cattlemen love that.
Oh yeah.
This is where the two trails came together. Right where the truck. This is the Twin Sisters. Right there. And on the other side, about a mile and a half, is where the two come together, the two trails. Salt Lake Cutoff and the California Trail. Notice the rock formations, how beautiful they are. Very round. I don't know how many square miles of this there is. 25 square miles, we've told. Beautiful. Fun day.
This is the
I just take Clayton along.
enthused
Give me a boost once in a while.
party of the historical committee. We've just had our lunch. I'm going to show you some of the rocks around here. See the here's the rocks. Here's Dale. He came with us. Can you see the sky, the rocks?
Oh, and here comes Donnie. I think Don's been to the restroom. That restroom is up on a rock plus some stairs. Hi, Don. Don, where you been?
Around the corner.
That's funny.
More. Here's some more rocks. Look. As high as you can go. Let's see if we can get back a little bit. Bob, where you been?
Check out that rock.
This is our driver. He's our tour guide today. We appreciate Bob for all he's done for us today.
Got several more things on.